Good morning, students. Now we are going to start the World Organization. So the first lecture in the World Organization is general sketch of the UNO. So concentrate yourself. This is very important question, and a question from this topic always come in every session of the O levels. So concentrate yourself. General sketch of the UNO, United Nations Organization. So this is the full form of the UNO. United Nations Organizations was formed in 1945 after the failure of the League of the Nations to prevent the Second World War. The UNO Charter was signed in San Francisco on 16th June 1945. Its charter was signed by 50 nations in the beginning. So in the very beginning, 50 nations were the members of UNO. Membership gradually increased when the colonies gained independence in the decade following the Second World War. The UN now has 180 members nations. The principal organizations of the UN, and there are 6 principal organizations. This short question frequently come in the paper. The first is Security Council, second General Assembly, third Secretariat, number 4 Economic and Social Council, number 5 Trusteeship Council, number 6 International Court of the Justice. The next thing in the lecture is objectives of the UNO. The first objective of the UNO to which the League of the Nations was failed. The first one is to maintain international peace and security. So this is the first objective, first and foremost objective of the UNO. The second is to encourage friendly relations between the member nations. Next is to promote international cooperation in solving economic, social, and cultural problems. And the next objective is serve as an agency through which member states can achieve the above goals. So these are the goals, but to some extent, the UNO seems to be fail in getting the all objectives. Next thing that we are going to read in the lecture is the role of the UNO. Its first major action came in June 1950 when it voted to help South Korea following the invasion of the North Korea, and 15 members contributed to the UN force. So this was the first action that was taken by the UNO. The second, in 1956, with the Israeli invasion of the Egypt and the subsequent intervention of the British and French forces, the Assembly met and established the UN Emergency Force, which ultimately provided for the withdrawal of the British, French, and Israeli forces. The third action was in successive Arab-Israeli conflicts, the Assembly has applied enough pressure on both sides to force a ceasefire until negotiations begin. The next action was, since 1978, a UN peacekeeping force has been stationed in South Lebanon. The next action was since the 1960s when the UN force intervened in the Congo. Controversial collective security action has been avoided, partly because the rise of the Afro-Asian, Latin America, and Arab member states has complicated the pattern of the path. The next action was in 1966, the Security Council imposed trade sanctions against Zimbabwe, then Rhodesia. The next action was in the recent Gulf crisis, the Security Council imposed trade sanctions against Iraq and permitted the allied nations to use force against Iraq to drive it out of the Kuwait. The next reaction was the Security Council imposed an air embargo against Libya to force it to eradicate 2 of its citizens suspected in the Lockerbie bombing of the Pen AM-747 over Scotland. The next action was the Kashmir problem is still unsolved. Whenever this issue was brought up, Soviet Union always voted it, vetoed it. Commissions sent by UNCIP were also unsuccessful. The next was Afghan problem is still unsolved after UN intervention. Next is it has helped in the establishment of the Iran-Iraq ceasefire, in the settlement of the Namibia, the withdrawal of the Soviet forces from Afghanistan, and the liberalization of the Kuwait. But it has not been successful in solving the Bosnian problem, Palestinian problem, and Kashmir problem. And the most recent is the Gaza problem, where almost more than 60,000 citizens, innocent citizens, including infants, including kids, including women, and the elderly people, has been martyred by the Israeli forces. So this was the topic, students. I hope so this will be much more easier and interesting for you to understand the sketch of the UNO. So read this lecture again, understand it, learn it, and make your notes. Thank you so much.